Hi everyone and welcome back to It's a Cold World. Now there were some juicy things that happened this week in the WNBL scene and I'm going to tell you a few of my takeaways from this last round. One, Amy Atwell is back, people. She had one of her first games where she had a great shooting percentage, a great shooting night, shot the ball over 50%. Unfortunately, the Perth Lynx lost against the Geelong Venom, but I called it. I said, if she has one more game where she performs like this, then league, you need to watch out. And boy, did she ever. The Perth Lynx went back home. They got a win over the Bendigo Spirit. Her shot selections were great. She was putting 2 feet into the paint first, seeing the ball go through the hole, then got a 3-point shot going. Again, shot it over 50%, and they got the win. So, league, on notice, it's official. Amy Atwell is back. Then another standout for me has been Dallas Lockridge. So she's donning her new colours with a new team at Adelaide Lightning, and she's now the head point guard as well for the Adelaide. So she's got a new role there. Last season, when she was at the Flyers, she was in contention for Breakout Player of the Year. She did not get that award, but I'm calling it early. And I think Dallas is going to be the breakout player of the year this season. She's been super consistent since game one. And her team did lose against Townsville, but she was remarkable with 26 points and 6 assists. So she is one to watch. Then we had the UC Caps with a huge win where they showed up and showed out, and they beat the Sydney Flames by 40 points, winning 96-56. So there was a lot of hype around the Caps early in the season. And besides their first game where they beat the Flyers at John Cain Arena, they hadn't won a game since. So we saw Zatina Akuzo finally come back from a knee injury. She only played 3 minutes, but she was outstanding, scoring 7 points. So one, is Zatina okay? Will we see her back, and how many minutes will she be on? But two, Jade Melbourne has finally released the shackles. This has been her second game where she's really found her feet within the new Caps team. She's facilitating the ball well. I wanted to see her have more shot attempts, shoot the ball, and she's been doing just that, especially in that win against the Flames. So, can she lead this team to more victories with the likes of Zatina back in the lineup? That is another one I cannot wait to see unfold. And then Geelong Venom. They've moved up to 4th on the ladder. Some might say they're the dark horse of the league, but they had a big win against Perth, which has put massive confidence into the squad. They've had a slower start to the season. They've had to handle with some adversity. They had the likes of WNBA import Alyssa Pilley and Shyla Hill unable to play due to injury. Shyla Hill, I think she's back for the next game, so that is going to be super exciting to see Hill back in the WNBL, and I think she's going to really help putting scoreboard pressure on with the likes of Mackenzie Holmes. And ladies and gentlemen, Mackenzie Holmes is MVP caliber talent, and she's a contender right now. She's leading the league with 24 points a game. She's 4th in the league for rebounds, averaging 10 a game. And who's going to be the person that can shut Mackenzie Holmes down? And is Mackenzie Holmes going to be the MVP of the season? Because right now, she's looking like her, but she's a big factor to why the Geelong Venom are climbing that ladder. And speaking of Geelong Venom, I'd now like to introduce my very special guest. She plays for the Seattle Storm in the WNBA, and she's a superstar import who's in MVP contention already for the Geelong Venom. So Mackenzie Holmes, welcome.
Thank you for having me on today. It's great to finally get to chat.
I know we were just talking off camera. You're always doing the post game interviews because you yourself are absolutely killing it at the moment. And I'd love to know, why did you choose the WNBL? Obviously, you're still so young. out of college, got drafted in 2024, and now you Seattle Storm. Why the WNBL?
Yeah, I think there were a lot of things that went into it. I've heard a lot of great things about the league in general. You've seen the talent that has come through, not just the imports, but there's a lot of talented players in this league otherwise. So seeing that, also I knew that coming to Australia, I've heard nothing but great things about the country itself. I played with Ezzy this past season, so asked her a lot of questions about it. Heard nothing but great things from her. So it was honestly a pretty easy decision when I knew that I was going to play overseas. And I got the opportunity and the call from Chris, so ended up working out really well.
And you mentioned Ezzy Magbagor. Obviously, she is an Australian superstar. How great is it to see teammates who you have played with, but now overseas with a new team, new faces? How great is it just to see past teammates?
Yeah, it's amazing. Eddie's been to a couple of our games, so to be able to have a familiar face in the stands is not something that I usually have. So seeing her at the games has been awesome. She's such a amazing person, basketball player aside. So the fact that I've gotten a chance to learn from her the past season in Seattle and continuing that relationship and friendship from there has just been really, really special to me.
And you said, like Ezzy, you asked her lots of questions. You've heard good things about the league. What are your first impressions now that there's been 4 rounds and you've settled in?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great league. The competition level is really high. You get everyone's best night in and night out. I feel like something that I really like about it is that any given night, you can win, you can lose. You've seen that so far. There hasn't really been any teams that are undefeated. So it's anybody's game any given night, and I think that's really cool. And the level of play is really high. The physicality is great as well, and getting to play against a lot of great players. Kayla George, I've battled against her, and then Sanaya and Adelaide. There's been a lot of really good post players that I have faced and I'm going to continue to face.
And you've gone through your own struggles as well. Injuries are part of the game. You had knee surgery, so you had to have the season off overseas in the W. You then got to have another season to, get your rhythm back and all that. But do you really think that the WNBL is going to help be that stepping stone to grow your game? Because I've personally seen, well, when I was still playing in the WNBL, a lot of athletes come over from the WNBA and they've just elevated their game because maybe you go from being, a bench person or you have a different role. You come here, you're the big dog, you get to really work on your game and skills, and now you get to go back and show what you've been working on. Do you see that
Mhm.
sort of happening for you?
Yeah, I think the way that things progress has been great because I feel like in my time in Seattle, I learned so much. I had amazing vets there that I took everything from, you know what I mean? Everything they did, I watched. And I thought it was really good just to be able to have a season where I'm learning, I'm being a sponge, I'm picking up, how they treat their bodies on recovery days, their routines, just all of those things I feel like I learned from. And I really tried to optimize my time in Seattle and use all the resources there, player development wise, and just really hone in on that when I knew I wasn't going to play and still staying ready if I ever did have to play. But now coming over here and getting to transfer over all those things that I had been working on the past 4 or 5 months in Seattle and being able to actually get minutes on the floor, I think has been super helpful just to kind of see it transfer over. So my time in Seattle was really great for my development and learning so much from such amazing vets and coaches. And then bringing it over to Australia and just getting the chance to finally just play again. It's been my first time playing in like 2 years. So very, very excited to just be back on the court.
Well, you cannot tell that you have not played in 2 years, but it's absolutely amazing watching you play. You're what I love as a forward. You can do it inside, outside. But I've said it before and I'll say it again, just no one can speed you up. Like you play at your own pace and you really just read the game so well. And well, right now you're leading the
Thank
league in
you.
points, averaging 24 a game. Also rebounds, you're fourth in the league with 10 a game. So you're killing it with a double-double. But are there personal skills that you'd love to work on as well? Like you said, I think it's great for this younger generation to see the mindset that you have, because we've all gone from that junior to senior level where
Mhm.
your role changed just like that, from going, oh,
Mhm.
I was a starter, to now you're working from the ground up again. But are there some skills you would like to work on, while you're playing big minutes here in the WNBL?
Yeah, I think just continuing to stretch my game. In college, I played primarily back to the basket. I don't know how many threes I took in college, but probably just a handful. So knowing that I needed to expand that part of my game, and honestly, getting the surgery kind of helped me find holes in my game to work on. So whether it was ball handling, shooting, it really gave me a chance to break down my game kind of from the start and just work on the things I needed to work on. And then in Seattle, we played a 5-out offense, which is similar to what we're playing in Geelong. So getting used to that flow and that type of offense, it's a very different level. You really have to be cerebral on the court. You can't just predetermine what you're going to do. You have to, make reads. And I think those are parts of my games that I'm working on, just continuing to read the game better, and not predetermine anything that I'm going to do, and just continue to grow my confidence on the perimeter, putting the ball on the floor, shooting the three, all those things, but still staying true to who I am, which is, a back to the basket post player at heart. So not straying too far away from that, but also adding and implementing things into my game.
No, well, it's been great watching you play, and I can't wait to see you and the Venom just develop each round. And speaking of your team, it's been a rough start to the season. You obviously missing two of your starters in Alyssa Pilley
Mm.
and Shyla Hill. But how proud are you of the group just to keep grinding and chipping away? And then you just got a massive win over Perth, and now you're fourth on the ladder.
Yeah, I think I'm just most proud of how we've handled the adversity with a lot of poise. I think we easily could have rolled over in a couple of those games, but we just continued to fight. Even if we didn't end up winning, you could still see that we were fighting for all 40 minutes. And I think that's what I'm most proud of, is our ability to just find ways to come back into games. We finally started to turn that corner a little bit and then continuing to grow off of that. So I think those are the two biggest things, is our ability to just fight for the whole game and find and figure out what's working, and really honing in, I think, on the defensive end has been really big for us these last two games, and trying to just speed teams up and the apply pressure the best we can when we know we're undersized. So I'm just really proud of all the girls and their ability to adapt to the different role changes that we've had.
And like you said, people have had to adapt. You've had all this adversity. You then get the big win. And I can tell as well, you're a team who never give up. Like you cannot think, oh, we're up by 10 against Geelong. Like we're locked in. We're going to win this game, because you guys always come back, throw punches, and that aggressive defensive intensity that you guys have been putting on the floor. You can tell it's rattling teams. It rattled the Southside Melbourne Flyers. But I guess, what's the confidence like within the camp once you go, hey, we lost some close games, but now we just beat Perth? How is the vibe within the group now going forward into this next game?
I think it's just the fact that we know that we can compete against any team because we've shown that. You know what I mean? Even if we've gone down 20, we've battled our way back. So I think it's just continuing to know that, it's a 40-minute game. We might be losing for 38 of those minutes, but whatever happens in those last 2 minutes is going to make or break us. So I think that's been the most important thing, and not getting too down on ourselves. We have to watch the film. We have to see what we did wrong, but also moving on. Not hanging on to those losses too tightly, just learning from them and knowing that this league, there's a lot of quick turnarounds, so bouncing back quickly, and I think we've shown our ability to do that.
And someone who has had an opportunity and grabbed it with both hands is little young gun, Lily Ratuno.
Mm.
How proud are you of her? Her last two games, she has been absolutely amazing. She said she wanted to change her mindset and be aggressive, because then she can score. Once she scores, now two, three players are having to come to her, and now it gets
Mhm.
the likes of Potter, Shelley open, and also helps you with the scoreboard pressure.
Mhm.
How proud are you? And again, a point guard is a hard position, but just how
Mhm.
proud are you of her?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's made the most of this opportunity that she's had. She's stepped up when her number was called, and I think that that's, all you can ask for someone like that. She's an extremely hard worker. She's in the gym, always working extra after practice. So I think it's just, she's reaping, the fruits of her labor. She's worked super hard to get to this point. She's been a DP in this league. She's played in other leagues. She's played in New Zealand. So I think it's just the confidence that she's had from the work and the experience that she has. I think ultimately made her ready for these opportunities, and letting it come to her and not forcing it, I think is also was really special to see.
And another teammate of yours is Jazz Shelley, who you knew from college, played against her. How great is it now to be her teammate? And I personally really enjoy what you guys do in pick and rolls. It's super exciting brand of basketball.
Yeah, we always joke about how we're excited to be on the same team and not opposing teams because she was always, a tough opponent to scout on both sides of the ball because we know she's an elite scorer and elite shooter, but she's also an elite defender, which I don't think gets talked about enough. The work that she does heating up the ball, pressuring 94 feet is something that's huge for our team. So just being able to play alongside her is great. Like I said, glad that we're finally on the same team now, not opposing teams. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun getting to know her and playing together this season.
And from the outside as well, it looks like your team is really bonded and you guys genuinely do really like each other off the court. And I think it shows with how your team plays on the court. But can you maybe speak a bit behind the culture of the team and how you girls just really respect each other?
Yeah, I think a lot of that came from, the adversity that we faced early on. It makes you really rally together and come closer because, all you have is each other. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, all you have is your teammates. So just trusting one another, knowing that we're all capable of making the smart plays, the game-winning plays, and I think we all have that trust, 1 through 13, so it's been really cool to just get to know everybody. Obviously, I got here and then we started playing pretty quickly, so I feel like I'm starting to really get to know, the girls in the team, and I think that, Chris holds us to a high standard, so the fact that we have him leading us as well, I think, has attributed to how close we are on the court.
And can you explain for some of the fans back home who watch your games and then we see the famous team selfie after a game? Can you let us know how all that started and what it means to your group?
Yeah, so I am not exactly sure when they started that, but I'm pretty sure it was during the NBL 1 season. They started doing the team selfie. So I think now that's just a tradition that they continue to carry on just to kind of show that, it's not just one person after a win, it's everybody. So the fact that we're able to do that on the court after the game is really special, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
And I heard in one of your pre-game interviews that you had a Vegemite scroll, and I'm intrigued. I was like, you can tell that you had your carbs in you that for that game, girl, because you were killing it. One, did you actually like the Vegemite scroll?
Yes, I actually will like eat them pretty often. Like
I'm shocked.
it's like it's something if I go to like a coffee shop or and they have them as an option, a bakery, I'll get a Vegemite scroll. I think they're delicious. No, I've really enjoyed Vegemite in general, which I know is interesting and an unpopular opinion for imports and Americans that come here, but I've thought Vegemite is great so far. I've had a Vegemite sandwich. Yeah, no, it's been good.
I'm beyond impressed and love that for all Australian basketball fans. Hey, you've had Vegemite. Have you tried any other Australian like unique things that aren't in America yet?
Yeah, like all the like snacks, like Tim Tams shapes. There's a lot of candy that is different as well that I literally any recommendations I am taking because I've wanted to try everything different that I possibly can. But those are some of my favorites so far. I love Tim Tams. I just had one with my coffee earlier, but yeah, no, I've been trying everything. I'm not a picky eater, so I want to, immerse myself as much as I can in everything new.
Okay, well, I'll have to send you a list of a few other
No,
Aussie treats
please,
that you could
please.
try. And do you have any obviously team goals you want to make that top four, you want to make finals. But do you have any personal goals for yourself on or off the court during this season?
I think just making the most of my time here, on and off the floor. I want to win, and my goal coming out here was to do that, and then just expand my game, as much as I can, and just be a consistent presence night in and night out. I think consistency is a word that I want to associate myself with, whether it's in what I do on or off the floor, just to continue to be a consistent presence, and then just enjoy my time. I'm don't know how many times I'll be in a different country playing. So the fact that I get this opportunity and this is my job is pretty cool. So making the most of it, not letting that get lost and everything else that goes on. Reminding myself that, this is a pretty cool experience that I get to have.
It really is. And I'd love to ask someone of your caliber. And you seem I'm speaking to you just very wise at such a young age. And like a lot of things you're saying, I didn't realize till later in my career, probably not until I was 30. But do you have any advice for the next generation? Because you're making a lot of good points that I think is super great for these younger basketballers to hear.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've learned is there are certain things that are out of your control. So if you can focus on those things that you can control, that will get you very far. And those are easy things: being a great teammate, being a good person on and off the floor, how you represent yourself. And you can always control your work ethic and doing extra, helping each other, pulling others up with you. So I think just controlling the controllables is my biggest piece of advice, because there are a lot of things that you can't control, injuries, missed shots, you don't play, you do play. So all those things you can't control, but you can control attitude, effort, all those intangible things, I think, are the most important for yourself as a basketball player, but also as a person. So that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah, no, I really like that. And I think one other thing I need to ask you about,
Mhm.
obviously, Geelong Venom, is it's called the Strike House. I love it. There's been snakes at the
Yeah.
venue. Have you had a Britney Spears moment and have you had the snake? Have you pat one? Do you? I don't even know if you.
So yes, I have held the snake. We had it at our media day, so there are some pictures from that. I thought I was gonna be okay holding it, and then it just kind of was moving around a little too much for me, and I forgot that it's actually a real snake that I'm holding. So I got a little freaked out, but no, we actually got some pretty cool photos that came from having the snakes at media day. But yeah, it is a fun little attraction for those people who want to come to games. You get to hold snakes. So Australian.
I got it right. And in Geelong, obviously, it is a smaller community and fans really get around it. But how have you enjoyed your time in Geelong, obviously off the basketball court, but getting to meet your fans? You sign autographs after games, which is super special because there's not many leagues in the world that you do that, but just really enjoying that small community.
Yeah, I think anytime you get a chance to give back, to the community that supports you, it's a super cool opportunity. We did similar things in college, so I love to engage with the fans, engage with the younger generation, because I was once that little girl, looking up to the basketball players around me. So anytime I can try to make some type of impact, sign an autograph, any interaction is really special to me. So it's been really cool to have the opportunity to do that.
And one last question for you. You spoke about earlier how you're excited to play against some amazing athletes. You spoke earlier when you versed Flyers that you were super pumped to go up against Kayla George and play her. Is there anyone else in the league that you're excited to play against? We do have Hanshu coming in to the Perth Lynx in a couple of games. Is there anyone you're excited to match up against?
I mean, I think that'll be a great matchup as well. Bree Turner has been so great for the Lynx. She's such a smart player. But 6'11", I don't think I've ever guarded anybody that tall. So that should be fun. We'll have to, cross that bridge when we get to it. But right now, just focused on a really good Adelaide team on Friday. So We'll see. There's a ton of great post players in this league, so I'm really excited for the battles that will happen night in and night out.
Well, Mackenzie, thank you so much for taking the time in your busy WNBL schedule. But everyone, if you haven't watched a Geelong Venom game, either tune in on TV or go down to the Strike House and watch this amazing superstar because she's been playing absolutely amazing basketball. So, Mackenzie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, make sure you tune in next week. It's a cold world.